Her name wasn't on any of the reception tables. I found that out the way you find out most humiliations, quietly and alone, holding a card with someone else's handwriting on it. Staff and vendors, the coordinator said, not unkindly, just distracted, gesturing toward a folding table near the kitchen doors, where a photographer was already unwrapping his silverware from a paper napkin. I think there was a mix-up with the seating chart. There hadn't been a mix-up. I'd seen my sister go over that chart 3 times. I sat down anyway, smoothed my dress, kept my coat folded over my lap because the chair was cold vinyl instead of the cushioned kind out front, and because folding it gave my hand something to do besides shake. 6 months ago, my sister Renata had called me crying at 11 at night because the venue she wanted had canceled 2 weeks before the date, some fire code violation nobody caught until it was almost too late. I'd spent 4 weekends finding her a replacement, negotiating with a manager I used to work event logistics for, calling in a favor I'd been saving for nothing in particular. I never told her how much of it was me. She thought her wedding planner had fixed it. I let her think that because correcting her felt like asking for credit, and I've never been good at asking for things. The breadbasket came around. The photographer offered me a role like we were old friends. I could hear the head table from where I sat, my mother's laugh, too bright, the kind she used when she was performing ease. Ada in white, luminous, turning her head to accept compliments like a flower turning toward light. I watched her for a while, not with anger exactly. More like the flat, tired feeling of watching a life you used to be closer to. There was a pressed flower in my clutch. Ridiculous thing to carry to a wedding, a violet I'd flattened inside a book years ago, from our grandmother's funeral, back when Renata and I still held hands during hard things instead of assigning each other blame for who grieved correctly. I didn't know why I'd brought it, maybe just to have something old in a room full of new. And finished a set. Glasses were tapped. The groom stood. I didn't know Marcus well. A handful of dinners, a golf outing Renata had insisted I attend so the families could blend. He was steady in a way that seemed to calm my sister down, which I'd noted was something like relief. He cleared his throat, thanked people, made the expected jokes about cold feet and long engagements. Then he paused in a way that made the room lean forward slightly, the way people do when they sense a script has ended and something real is about to be said instead. There's someone here I want to acknowledge, he said, who isn't sitting where she should be tonight. I felt my spine go rigid before I understood why. When our venue fell through, my wife told me her sister handled it. What she didn't tell me, because apparently she didn't fully know, is that I called that venue's manager myself last week, out of curiosity, and he told me the real story. She used a professional relationship she'd built over years. How she covered part of the deposit difference out of her own pocket and never mentioned it. How she did this without asking to be thanked. Forks stopped moving. My mother's face went the particular gray of someone doing fast, unwelcome arithmetic. So, Marcus said, looking directly at the staff table now, and I understood with a lurch that he had known exactly where I was seated the entire time, would you come stand up here with us? Because you're not staff. You're the reason any of us are standing in this room at all. I didn't move right away. Some part of me, trained by years of being the sister who did the work and stayed in the background, wanted to shrink instead of rise, wanted this moment to be a mistake meant for someone else. The bridesmaids had turned fully around now, a slow collective motion like a field of grass changing direction. Renata's hand had gone to her mouth. I couldn't tell from that distance whether what was underneath it was shame or love, and for the first time in a long while I let myself believe it might be both. I stood. My chair scraped against the linoleum, unglamorous and loud, and I walked past the vendor table, past the kitchen doors, into the light of the room I'd been quietly excluded from all night. Someone pulled out a chair for me at the family table. My mother reached for my hand under the tablecloth, not saying anything, her fingers cold and unsteady, which told me more than any apology would have. Renata didn't stand and hug me. She wasn't built for grand gestures, and neither was I. But later, during the first dance, she found me by the gift table and pressed something into my palm without a word. A folded napkin with my actual name written on it in her looping handwriting, torn, she admitted quietly, from the place card that should have been mine. I still have it, tucked now beside the pressed violet, 2 small paper things pressed flat by time and misunderstanding. Nothing between my sister and me healed all at once that night, but something shifted, not into forgiveness exactly, more into the possibility of it, which is sometimes the more honest gift. Keep the napkin folded small enough to fit in any pocket. Some nights I still take it out, not to remember the humiliation, but to remember the sound of my name finally spoken like it mattered in a room that had almost forgotten to say it at all.